What's up, Toasters? This is the Toasty Podcast. Welcome. And I hope you're having a good night. So today we have Cyarra on, and she is Matt's wife. Matt has mentioned her several times, and we finally got her on the show. So
kicking and screaming.
We're going to talk about her life story. Let's get toasty. So Matt's told me a little bit, of course, right? Because we have all these shows together or whatever, you know what I mean? We practically touch tips. It's cool. So I just want to know, like, what do you want to share? What do you want to tell us? Your life story, but where do you want to start? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because he's talked about a big flip. He's talked about, how when we first met, she was, the left and all this stuff, and now it's changed, and where does that even begin? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I feel like it really does start with it. Ultimately, it all starts with, like, when you have these political opinions, especially more liberal. I feel like it started with my childhood, how I was raised, what I kind of dealt with in my childhood. I'm mixed. I'm black, white, Mexican, but I look pretty much black, except for my facial features. You might be able to tell that I have some white in me, but it's not, like, very easy. I didn't deal with a lot of racism or anything like that, but I went to a lot of liberal schools. A lot of the people I went to school with were more emotional. I feel like a lot of
Where did you grow up? Like, where is that?
I'm from Houston. I'm from, like, the Woodland Spring area.
Gotcha,
where I really call home.
Yeah.
I graduated high school in Killeen, Fort Hood. I was there, honestly, about 2.5 years. My mom got remarried in my sophomore year of high school, and so I moved out there. But just a lot of the schools I went to were more lower income. I changed high schools every year of my high school career. And I just feel like I was really surrounded by people who just kind of had a victim mentality a lot of the time. And just because, things really sucked, things do suck. We didn't have the best of the best in some of our schools, but some of my schools are really nice. Like, for instance, Spring High School. I mean, I remember having the Mac computers in my libraries and stuff. And, like,
holy crap.
Yeah, like, those pretty nice, yeah. And, but it's just the people I was surrounded by, the demographics of the area I was in, and my family as well. I just feel like I'm the oldest of four girls, and I feel like it's really easy to, like, I was really looking for, like, a group to belong in, and like, be a part of something. And with that, your opinions can get skewed so easily because you want to be a part of that group. Groupthink is something that's talked about all the time in all kinds of businesses and schools and all that. I mean,
we're dealing with that now. You know what I mean? With what's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and
cancel culture is groupthink.
The detriments of that, and people don't realize that there is some positive to being able to, come to agreements easier. But also you have to have the ability to think for yourself, and so I just feel like, a lot of the people I was around, I mean, even now, a lot of as I've changed my opinions and gotten what I feel is honestly more educated, and I've just tried to diversify my sources of information so that I'm not just getting it from social media or not just getting it from one source. I try to get it from every, the full story as much as I can, know. But I noticed a lot of my friend list gets smaller and smaller, honestly. And I think reflecting on it, I think the reason it was so easy, the reason why, let me not say it's so easy, but the reason why I got caught up a little bit in a very liberal, very hurt and emotional place was because of not wanting to be ostracized or feeling different than other people. I'm already a different person. I already kind of dress different. I was already kind of weird in school. You know what I mean? So it's just stuff like that. I feel like kind of really molded that a little bit. And so when Black Lives Matter really became prevalent in 2014, I remember feeling very defeated and feeling very hopeless. Honestly, there's not many times in my life I've felt helpless.
Well, okay, so why did that bring on those feelings? Like, you're talking about a movement that started. Was it because of what happened to cause the movement, or?
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
Yeah, what happened?
Like the led up to it?
Yeah, the deaths of these black men and women and kids. You know, Tamir Rice and Freddie Gray were two that particularly really like hit me.
Right.
You know, and I felt very like, man, this keeps happening, you know. And when that's like what comes in the news all the time. I was on Twitter all the time.
Sure.
It's just, you start to feel like, man, this is all that's going to keep happening, you know.
You're surrounded by the same thing.
Yeah.
You think of the same thing. Is that kind of like a victim thing? Is that what you're saying? You felt like the same
the victim mentality.
Yeah.
What I want to ask more about that. Like, what were some of the people that you were surrounded by growing up like about? They're about this victim mentality, but was it really just everything out to get them? Is that it? I mean,
it was a bit. It was like I had a lot of people around me who were hard workers who knew that their backs were against the wall, but they did what they could to fight against that. You know, like make their own money, whatever. But they always felt like there was something opposing them.
There's always something against them, right?
That was holding them back, and that they were fighters. They were strong, and that's what I respected. I'm a fighter myself, and that's what attracts me to those kind of people. You know.
Sure.
But when your mindset is that it's just not gonna get better. There's always somebody holding you back. It bleeds into other.
Well, it's like a wall at that point. You know, you're making a mental block.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's how I felt. And I mean, I just feel like I said, you're surrounded by that, and everyone's talking about it. Everyone's so angry. Everyone's so emotional, and I remember hearing the news about Freddie Gray and literally texting my best friend and just being like, I don't really know, like, what, she's white and I'm black, and I was like, I don't even really know why we're even talking about this anymore. Like, why are we even fighting this fight? Like, they're just gonna keep killing us. Like, this is stupid, you know. Like, we just need to just go away, you know, and be done with this. And we're wasting our time, you know. I felt you're very driven by that emotion. I feel like that's what it was. Yeah,
right. And that's interesting because some of the worst emotions that humans feel, as far as, like, I say worst, I mean like most intense on the side of envy, fear, anger, those types of things, always invoke the most action.
Yeah.
Don't ask me why. I'm not really sure, but
it's a psychological
that's just how it
thing.
goes. It is for sure.
Anger, all emotions are necessary, but
just think about like leaving online reviews. You know, you only leave most of the time. You leave online reviews when you get pissed off about something.
When you're mad, and it's like
25% of reviews are like, "Oh my gosh, they treated me so well."
Because I guess people just expect to always be happy anyway. So when you're mad, it's different.
High expectations.
Right? It's the way anger affects us. It's just anger drives motivation. It's just, unfortunately, which anger is not a bad emotion at all. It's okay to be angry and upset by what happened.
You got to use it.
Exactly. It's how you use it, and versus if you're just going to keep being angry about it, or if you're going to do something with that anger. You know.
And so when did you have these friends? I guess they all had your similar views. This is 2014, 15. When did what hit? You know, what tells you that it's that you don't agree with it or whatever? I don't know what to say. I'm not sure. When did you decide that it's like, wait a second, maybe this isn't the fight I need to fight? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like it was honestly a really gradual change, like reflecting on it. It didn't just kind of happen drastically for me. I feel like I've always been a person who has stood by, get the full story. Try to get as much of the story as you can. Do not come up with a conclusion or an opinion before you know everything. And I would preach that on the end of Black Lives Matter, of like, you guys are racist and you guys don't even understand like what happened with these cops, and you don't even see what happened. And as I would educate myself though on these cases, I'm like, okay, all right, well I can kind of see this a little justified. Man, this is crazy, but you know, and I just started to see it, but I'd still see the protests and still see the names being called out and still see this. I'm like, but you guys aren't talking about these other facts that actually occurred in it. And it just started like,
It's about
okay, so are you telling me that, okay, so what you're telling me right now kind of like makes me think that there are possibly other Black Lives Matter supporters there now that see these facts and everything and don't worry about it or don't look at it. Right? And it's
I think they're totally ignorant to the facts.
You
like
think
they
that?
just don't know about them.
Maybe that is
because they're so focused and ingrained on that one narrative that they don't get that full story that you're talking about.
Well, because we previously had a guest on, and I'm not sure we didn't bring up what Black Lives Matter ran, how they ran, or any of that stuff. Mm-hmm. Because on the show I try not to be crazy controversial. I guess I don't know. I'm not trying to make anyone feel weird and uncomfortable, but we didn't talk about that, and I wonder if he would have even brought it up or if he knows. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know.
What they stand for?
Yeah, what they're about or who runs it. Because I brought up who's the co-president or who's the co.
You kind of hinted on it. I don't think he had any
idea. No one was bringing it up. Obviously, I don't freaking know exactly their exact names, right? I just know, whatever. So,
but
that's a good point. The point you're making is right.
He wasn't really acting with them in conjunction with.
That's true. Well, it turned out right. He explained it, and he was like, "Yeah, no."
But the thing, there's so many different factions, and that, like you said, it all falls under that big umbrella.
Yeah,
and that's what I was trying to get at. From his angles, like, what do you feel like your message that was very specific? Like I was saying, you've got to cue it in.
Yeah.
Like his Next Gen Action Network did. Mm-hmm. I feel like for the most part, they were very cued into one thing, one objective, and they got lumped into BLM, which has this stupid, crazy, vast agenda.
Right.
And it's taken off more than they can chew.
Yeah.
Bitten off more than they can chew, and that's what I was trying to ask him. Is like, do you feel like your message has gotten hijacked by this, big monster that is BLM now?
Right.
I feel like BLM, the people who are the head, reporters or the owners of the company, founders of the company, whatever. It's not a company, but you're getting funded, whatever. But
I bet you they're
these. I feel like they know they are hiding these facts. They educate.
Oh, the people that are running it? Oh,
yeah,
for sure.
They're
hiding it.
And
they know.
Most of the members. That's the sad thing, and that's what I fell victim to. Is you see headlines, you see quick little snippets of truth, Twitter. And our society is something that they're feeding off of. Is our attention span is shorter and shorter every day. Our attention span as human beings becomes shorter and shorter because of how much information we're processing, how much we look at social media, look at computer screens in general. Our attention spans are very little. So we're not reading full articles, full police reports, full stories, any of that. We're reading the little bits of clips that happen to be on Twitter,
even just headlines,
headlines, and that's it. And people might go a paragraph or two into that, and then they get bored. They get tired of reading.
They don't want to get in the weeds or go into the details.
They get confused, whatever it might be. Unfortunately, our attention span is growing shorter, and we're getting dumber. So it's a combination of these two things that are letting Black Lives Matter become so prevalent and have the great influence that they have. Because when you see a headline that this woman or this 12-year-old child got shot because he pulled up a fake gun to a police officer, does your heart not rip apart? Yeah, it does. Do you not want to immediately get mad and want to be a part of that? Yeah. And that's what they feed off of, is just knowing those little bits of facts. And I feel like it's a combination of I get angry because Black Lives Matter people are out here and they're telling people, they literally are telling people to educate themselves, but they won't do it themselves. They won't read the rest of the full story. And as I continued to keep reading that, and I noticed that, I just felt like this is a very hypocritical situation we're in right now. I don't understand what's going on. People feel like it's completely black or right. There's no gray matter.
Right,
there's no this situation
There's no gray matter.
was whatever. This situation was messed up, but unfortunately this person acted like this, or so be it.
Exactly.
No one wants to discuss
it's a tragic situation, but
led to this. They just think, oh, the police. And the more that I kept seeing that, and the more the cases I kept seeing where the victim, honestly, and like I said, Tamir Rice, Freddie Gray are very big ones that really tug at my heart because they weren't really resisting arrest. They died of situations that it shouldn't have happened, you know. And George Floyd, it shouldn't have happened the way it happened. No one is ever saying that about any of these police situations, and that's what everyone wants to do. And I just started to recognize like the divisiveness and the anger, the lack of being willing to listen to anything anybody else said. And I just thought, why are we doing this? Like, I mean, aren't we here to make change? Isn't that the point of this movement? Like, for us to talk and explain to you, you don't understand my perspective of being a black person who is pulled over by cops or deals. This is how I have been interacted with cops. You don't understand that, but I'm not going to listen to you because you're a white person and you don't understand that. We can't have a conversation. We'll never come to common ground.
Sure.
And the more I kept seeing that, the more I felt like, what's the point? Like, ultimately, what's the point of this movement if you're just basically trying to yell at people?
Yeah.
You know. So.
Yeah, and like, so you're okay. Well, did you like face any, I don't know, backlash or anything? Like
because I decided.
Because you decided that this was how it was, and you guys are insane or whatever.
Yeah,
like you guys just yelling at us.
I get backlash all the time. One, because I've always dated white men. I've always been called an Oreo. Like, that's just something like that people attack me for, and it's something that Candace Owen, I really really respect her, and she talks about like, this is what we fought for, the ability to love whoever we love.
Right.
People attack us because we betrayed our race, and it doesn't make any sense.
And to be like, you know, literate, productive members of society.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, slaves weren't allowed to learn how to read. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like,
and
you should really take advantage of having that opportunity to be able to learn and do so much in this country. Like,
you can put as much as you want into it to get what you want out of it.
Absolutely, like Michael was saying, it's the land of opportunity.
Yeah,
it is.
He said it. He said it, and he went to school. He did what he wanted to do, and got out, and he's great. You know, it's fine. And he could literally be deported at any point. He doesn't know. Well, I guess every year or whatever. We kind of know. Because of DACA, but I don't know, man. That's crazy.
He's got to renew it every year, so.
Well,
backlash. Like, even whenever I started coming out against it, I have a particular post that I can talk about.
Well, when was this? When did this happen? When was this happening?
When did I really start like saying I'm not like for Black Lives Matter?
Yeah, that I guess. But were you still kind of on like a Democrat-leaning person anyway?
I probably flipped more to more libertarian probably in 2016, honestly.
Okay.
I hate Hillary Clinton.
Well, were you even into politics?
I wasn't that much into politics, honestly. Before meeting Matthew and before, like, he watches news a lot. He kind of influenced me a little bit more on, like, actually reading more articles, whatever, you know. And so I kind of went more towards libertarian. I still consider myself a conservative libertarian. I want people to have the ability to do what they want if it's not going to harm other people, but don't take my freaking money. Like, I've worked hard. And that's probably another reason why I've flipped my stance is I am the oldest of 4
very independent.
girls. I got out of a situation where there was no opportunities for my family. To be nice about it, I had to make everything for myself. As soon as I turned 18, I got my driver's license. I left my house. I got a job, and I've busted my ass ever since then. Yeah, I've taken care of myself. I don't ask people for much.
It's just it's interesting that families do that. You know what I mean?
Like
inspire you to not do it, or did they inspire you to do it? You know what I'm saying?
They inspired me to like the situation that unfortunately that I saw that they were in inspired me not to be in that situation.
That's what I'm saying. See, but they didn't. So it's crazy to me. Like, I didn't have necessarily the best thing either, but it was like that's what made me do it, right? And it's always that opposite, and that's where you're like, oh, I can do whatever I want. What am I doing? But it's weird that you can have a whole family that they all have this idea. Like you said, groupthink even goes to families. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so then you have generations of just living the same way.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
And being scared to challenge it either because, you know, something that I just now, after George Floyd, I participated in the Blackout Tuesday, and I watched Candace Owens' feed, and I'm not a brainwashed, but I'm not just like everything Candace Owens says, I'm following her. I do respect her, but she's not the only conservative black person that I listen to or anything. But she made a point that
there's a lot out there, people.
Really stuck with me, and about the fact that Black Lives Matter, if we just talk about what happened during the George Floyd protest, there's about 48 people who were killed. At least 12 of them were black people. One in particular was a retired
police chief,
in St. Louis, trying to protect one of his friend's business, and it just clicked like, but they're not chanting those names. They'll chant George Floyd's name all day. They'll chant Sandra Bland. They'll chant.
Which one was of all those deaths, which one was more wrongful?
Exactly.
Think about that.
Exactly. But no one talks about that.
Less justified? Which
That's
one
going
was
to fry
less
your
justified?
toast. Okay? Think about that.
Fry your freaking toast,
Who was
dude.
more, who deserved to die more, George Floyd or that retired police chief defending a business for his friend?
Like, what sucks is as humans, I don't think we're ever going to be able to really, like, justify who dies.
You can justify death, absolutely.
Hold on.
That's why we have the death penalty in this country.
We have to. I know for law we have to. I know that.
In self-defense.
Right. But there's always going to be an opposing view.
Yeah. I don't think anyone deserves to die between those two people, but...
Right. Does it make sense? Like, so you might say, well, no one deserves to die. But, I mean, obviously, under the circumstances, some people might. I mean, that's what happens. Death penalty, right?
Yeah.
And I would say I agree with what you're talking about more on the wrongful death. Like, for real, what was more of the wrongful death? A gentleman who was just standing and protecting a business gets shoot by looters.
Yeah, compared to, like, what Black Lives Matter is doing, and then you're seeing this. Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It's ridiculous.
And it's just so interesting, you know? Going back to the example I was talking about, I just started, when I put out articles and stuff, I try to be as inclusive as possible. Like, all right, I know that this off the bat might exclude you because you have a very strong opinion, but please just try to be open-minded and just read the article. And if you don't agree with it, so be it, whatever. But like, just like absorb information as much as you can. You know,
sure.
That's what we have brains for a reason. That's what we're all trying to do, right?
Right.
And I had a person I haven't talked to for 10 years since my sophomore year of high school. I was in choir with her. She commented on one of my posts saying along these lines, to see you going from the sex-loving, fun, high-energy woman to this racial denying, incoherent, spewing woman is just not something I ever expected. Enjoy living the plot of Get Out. And I was stunned. I was stunned because her first post, just a minute before that, maybe I'll give her 5 minutes, she posted before that said, what facts? Basically, you know, trying to have a debate, I thought, on the article that I had posted. This was at 1 o'clock in the morning. 5 minutes later, I'm asleep. She posts this incoherent, you know, insulting thing, attacking my person, when again, I have not talked to her for 10 years.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
She didn't know me at all when we were in choir, sitting next to each other, singing alto. Great. You don't know me. And second off, if you did know me, you would know, honestly, my personality has not changed. It really has not.
Yeah, you're still crazy.
I'm still crazy. I still love to have a good ass time. I'm a hard worker, and I think the fact that I'm such a hard worker, and I watch people choose to be willfully ignorant, it just boils my blood.
Yeah.
And the more I just kept educating myself, the more I'm like, some of these things are just so blatantly hypocritical. What are we even talking about here? And all I want is for people to be willing to listen and have that conversation and educate themselves. All the way around. Not educate yourself on this one topic, on this one side, this one professor, whatever.
There's one like theory too. Like people are putting theories into practice, and that's what's really like killing
it's weird because, you know,
whole bathroom issues.
Why do you not ever read an opposing view or whatever if you know you already have the view you have? Mm-hmm. Are you afraid of losing it? Does it make sense? So they don't want to read this stuff because why? Do they get too angry to read it? I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
that happens to me all the time. I literally will go on to MSNBC, CNN, Atlantic, and I'll look for left-wing stuff, you know? Yeah. Anything besides, like, Mother Jones. So that's, like, crazy stuff. That's, like, way out there. And I'll read it, and I'll get, like, 3 or 4 paragraphs in and be like, all of this is just BS. Like, they're spewing narrative. And I'll do the same thing on yeah. I'll do the same thing on right leaning stuff too. I'll be like, they're just spewing the narrative. They're just like shouting talking points. Like I've heard it before. Got it. Got your side of the picture. I'm over it. I like reading about facts. You know, I like reading about what happened, so I can just make up my own mind. You know what I mean?
And that's
like, if it's opinionated, I'm like, meh.
I agree, and that's why I'm kind of like, yeah, that's where I've come. At first, I wasn't into politics, so I didn't really look at that stuff, and now I'm starting to read facts and stuff, and I'm like, what the heck, man? You know what I mean?
It's hard to find. Dude. Like, the thing is, like, you'll have to find, like, a subject, and you have to find an article that's this way about it, and an article that's that way about it, and see which facts are common about it. Right. You know, see what this side didn't say, see what that side did say. You know what I mean? That's kind of how I look at it.
All right, guys. This show is hosted by Blueberry, and you should get on that because they are the best podcast host you can get. Blueberry. It's $12 a month, and they are spectacular. They give you a WordPress plugin. Say that 3 times fast, and it works. As simple as that. You put up a post, and you have a podcast up, and it can be on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, anyone you want it on. It's on.
Yeah, they're really helping us out.
Just get on that. Affiliate link is in the show notes. So, awesome.
Sorry, guys.
All right. Hey.
Hi.
So, anyway, we're talking about, just talking about opposing views and crap, but like, so when did you, I don't know, I'm still kind of just baffled by anyone these days deciding
switching sides.
They don't want to be a Democrat or both, vice versa. They don't want to be a Republican or whatever, and it makes a lot more sense if you're facts based to say I'm going to be libertarian because that's just what I'm seeing. That's just what I'm seeing. I'm seeing people. I'm meeting a lot more people now.
Libertarian Party's growing pretty fast.
It is, and it's weird.
Especially as everything's become so divisive, and you are this type of person if you're right wing, or you're this type of person if you're left wing. Like that's where it's like, really, I just want people to be happy and not bother me. Like, you know what I mean? And people are like, well, that kind of aligns with libertarian views, Yeah. Like, it's some happen to be more conservative,
And how did that, like...
It should be a personal choice.
When did that happen, you know what I mean? Right. When did a political view have to do with me just wanting to be happy and be left alone?
I don't know.
Does that make sense?
That's the whole idea.
Isn't that
of
weird?
To begin with.
Right? Like, so you're talking about now I'm libertarian because I just want to be happy and left alone?
Yeah, right?
What? That doesn't make any freaking sense at all.
See, the thing is, like, I feel like the founding fathers would have been all libertarians. They all would have been.
That's what I'm saying, dude.
Like, the Republicans would have been super liberal for the time.
The weird, like, the small group.
Now we're in this weird thing where, like, literally, the whole fact Democrats are now just unhinged.
Yeah.
We have Republicans that, like, they're just, like, being their political self, I guess. Where'd their view go? I have no idea.
Yeah.
And then all the rest of us, now the silent majority, what if we're all freaking libertarians, dude?
I hope so. Maybe one day.
I don't know, man.
The whole fact of, like, just federal land during the founding of our country, that was not a thing.
Right.
There was no national parks. None of that. No federal land.
It has to do with money, I guess. They were like, what I mean?
Well, it has to do with preservation of our national beauty. Landmarks, Yellowstone, that sort of thing. That was the idea behind it. I feel like that still is the idea behind it. Just preserve our parks and forests and stuff.
That's true.
But the thing is, there was so much freedom back then. I mean, then again, there wasn't. You know what I mean? In certain ways.
That's true. Yeah, but so it's 2016, right?
Opportunity.
And, you're just being Cyarra, doing your thing. What did the election do for you? You know what I mean?
It opened my eyes to the willful ignorance that really.
So that's what it was.
Yep.
That election
really, really, really thrives in our country, and it scared me.
Had you voted before at all, or?
I don't have a
chance.
You
hadn't been registered, right?
So it was my first real election, presidential election I could vote for. And before me and Matthew, I really wasn't into politics, so I didn't know much about our state legislators.
Same, yeah. I wasn't really ever into politics, but that meant that I never really got into movements or anything. You know what I mean? I just didn't. Exactly. I was like.
But like as a black woman, it's like. Man. I was expected to be a part of that movement.
And that's what I'm talking. That's a weird feeling, I think. Yeah. I haven't been there, so I don't know. But like,
And that's what I was talking to Matthew about a little bit. It makes me it really emotionally, like, you know, you feel like torn apart. Like, you're not trying to abandon your black community because you recognize that the movement, the policies, the things that they're talking about don't quite add up.
It's not in your best interest.
Yeah, and but you're being attacked, and your black card is being taken away, and you're being told that you're betraying your race and all this stuff,
crazy.
and you're being. I mean, like I said, I've lost countless friends, close friends that, you know, it's like. It shouldn't matter that deep, you know what I mean? As far as that goes, if a fact is a fact is a fact, it's a fact. Like, you know what I mean? I don't know what else to say about it. Like, this is what it is. And if you guys are protesting and mad about something, again, I have told many people I have no problem protesting. I'll get up and protest if it does something.
Right.
If I go and do a community, buyout of a, place of business where we all the funds that go into that day where we all buy food and it all goes, like, all of it gets donated to the black community, whatever.
Right.
Like, those things that actually make a movement. Walking down a street with a sign after curfew doesn't do anything for me. It doesn't. It just doesn't. And it's sad how much, though, I feel like I'm considered not black because I don't participate in that movement.
And that's what I don't understand, that, because, like, obviously you can't change that. And what they're doing almost is making black an identity.
Yeah.
Which
is identity politics.
It's extremely ridiculous.
It's like
and what does that do? That divides you more, doesn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all about segregation, divide and conquer. That's the whole idea, is that if they put you in these groups, it's easier to manipulate you, period.
Yep.
Easier to say, well, you got to stay in your group.
Exactly. And that's why it was easy for me to be like,
you're an outcast.
If I don't say Black Lives Matter, I'm wrong. I'm against black people.
Well, we were talking about that last night.
You know? Yeah.
They used the phrase Black Lives Matter because obviously you can't say Black Lives don't matter because no one thinks that.
Yeah, exactly.
I truly believe.
Exactly.
Unless you're talking about, the small people, like group of people that actually are
minority,
of white supremacy or whatever you might call it. Unless you're those people, most Americans that you meet are not going to be that way.
Yeah. And that's one thing I find so interesting and find so hypocritical about the movement in general is not only is the fact that this is a very small minority of people who actually do really believe this and are out hunting, but no one is hunting black people, all right, first off. Second off, if anyone is truly feeling like that, it's a very small group. But guess what? In any group, I've had to remind myself this for years. It doesn't matter what stupid interest it is, how off the wall it is, there's going to be at least one person who finds an interest in it, who somewhat thinks that it's okay. There's going to be at least one person. There's always going to be a bad apple. It just is what it is. You're never going to eliminate that whole group. But then to call everybody else, the other 90%, 98% of people who don't believe that, now you've ostracized them, that they can't even agree with your movement because now they're racist just because they have white skin. Yeah. It doesn't make sense.
It's a very big generalization.
And here we are, the hypocrisy. You're talking about anti-racism. We need to get rid of racism. While we're literally recreating the definition of racism, talking about reverse racism. That's not real. That doesn't exist.
Right.
Racism, saying white privilege is a thing, is racist, and people don't seem to understand that. They don't want to grasp it. They want to give me some BS, their psychological opinion on it, whatever. This is how I feel about it. No, this is the fact. This is the actual definition of this. And this is how, if you want real change and real conversation to happen, let's talk about what's really going on.
Sure.
Not your emotions. Your emotions, we all are emotional.
Yeah, all of us. We're not going to get around it.
We're never, and we can't run a country on emotions. Our founders didn't come in here and talk about, I'm so mad at Brennan for taking my rights away and not letting me, have my religious freedom. So, you know what? I'm just going to burn Britain real quick, and then I'm going to make my... No, you're not going to make anything happen like that. Like, you have to have logic. You have to think about it and see, like, is this really wrong?
Right.
Does this make sense? You know what I mean?
And they even said you cannot make a decision based on emotion. It becomes brash. It becomes this thing that's bad. And
they say it 1 second, but then they do it the next. Yeah. And that's what gets me. I'm not a flip flop person. I might have switched from being very involved in Black Lives Matter to the point where I legitimately considered suicide because I thought there's no point of me being alive because I'm a black woman, you know, and I look black, like I said. But I flipped. But that doesn't mean I'm a flip-floppy person. It means I educated myself, and we can all educate ourselves, and there's nothing wrong with changing your opinion and changing your mind. People seem to have a problem with that. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's when you change your mind, and as you say, it's okay this time, but it's not okay this time. No, you need to have a straight, like, this is the stance. You know what I'm saying? Like, then that's how get riled up. But yeah, that's how.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it sounds like you're pretty deeply involved in that, you know?
Yeah, I try to be.
To be... Well, even before, like in Black Lives Matter, you know, to be the point where you might commit suicide or whatever.
Yeah.
What leads to that?
The feeling.
Why would you?
It's despair. Yeah, it's hopelessness. Yeah.
It's like there's nothing we can do. As much as we cry and have, you know, we have these footage, these images, this proof, you know, that this happened. They're just gonna keep coming after us. So, you know, what's the point? What fight are we fighting?
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Wowzers.
And that's how you feel.
If you get successful, they're just going to frame you for something you didn't do, and then you're going to be put down. And
and it's discouraging too on the other end as well, because of the fact that I do get ostracized because I'm not only am I married to a white man, I'm not for Black Lives Matter, and I actively I try to educate people on the other side of things and like here's the full story. I still get attacked on that end, but I'd rather be attacked for truthful things and things that I feel educated on, I can stand by, than things I don't really know anything about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
like I was talking to Michael last night, last guest, about Black Lives Matter, and I basically just said if it was named, if they had named it like, you know, police brutality matters or something like that, and they stuck to that, and that was it. I'm sure they'd have a lot more followers as far as like.
They wouldn't even be,
so?
You know, they wouldn't even be an organization.
They wouldn't even be an organization anymore
because they would have amassed a big following.
Right.
It would have been a big movement. It would have been a big congressional bipartisan bill. The president would have signed it.
And where I'm going with that is the fact that like what you're saying, like
nobody can compromise or allow wins for the other side, so it didn't happen.
And I'm the same way. Like if I see a big organization and there's something about it that rubs me the wrong way, I'm looking more into it. Of course I am. And obviously, you know, what they originally were for, what they originally preached or whatever, and it was police brutality this, police brutality that, whatever. That's fine, and that's what everyone is for. I'd like a reform, you know. But when you start digging in and you have this huge organization that's a lot of different things, and a lot of it isn't right, and maybe you see facts then I can't stand behind it.
Yeah.
And you still have people that cling to that one thing and will say they follow the whole organization. And that's an issue. That's a problem.
Yeah, exactly.
And you realizing that and jumping out of it because of that, it's a big deal, apparently. It's a huge deal.
It's just
but
awareness.
Would you say, like, you were in a place where it was despair and everything, you know, have you felt that again since being not a part of it?
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
You feel like you're happier now than you were then?
Yeah, okay, like, I feel happier. I feel hurt because I've lost some really good friends. Through the fact that I stand by what I stand by. I've never been a person, though, who... I don't cut off people because you believe this, you know, full-on Black Lives Matter, whatever. All I can do is educate you as much as I can. And, yeah, I might get a little bit frustrated that you're not willing to like, at least listen to, like, these facts I want to give you. But I'm not going to cut you out of my life. I'm not going to, lose respect for you. That's not who I am. And that's something I've noticed just along the conservative libertarian side in general. They just... A conversation is a conversation, and a debate is a debate. You know what I mean? Like, and that can be what it is. You can have heated debates. Doesn't take away from our personal relationship.
Then you can have a beer after. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's something
that's
I've
totally
been
missing today.
So I feel like I've been happier because I feel more confident in what I'm saying. When I've always been an argumentative, not an argumentative, but a confrontational person.
Yeah,
I have no problem confronting and having a debate and talking with someone. But I was on, you know, the opposing side. But I never felt as confident. You know, reflecting on it, I feel a lot more confident and happy on this is legitimately what's going on. This is what I know. But it's been hurtful how much I see and how much I've personally experienced the loss of good friendships and people I thought like that didn't matter, you know. That has been
your friendship was deeper than just
than
politics, you know.
yeah.
But politics
sucks,
is
man.
permeated every aspect of our life today.
Politics
so
ruin
like,
everything, dude.
It's inescapable.
Let's be honest. It is inescapable,
which is
clearly because I made a podcast that was supposed to be everything, and
yeah.
you know, we talk about politics, you know,
Yeah.
so whatever.
Well, it's an election year too, so I feel
That
like there's a
no,
lot
you're right.
going
We do
around.
get it. We do get into it because of that, and I get that. I'm totally there for it. Obviously, that's where it's going, so fine. But
Hopefully by like February, March, we'll be like, okay,
well, I'm still gonna have other guests on, right?
inaugurations
You know, but
happened, and yeah.
Yeah.
it is that vibe, and I think that. So you remember like how men used to be like, I don't know. This is a generalization, but whatever. There used to be the thing where you're like, the man will like be like, I hate you, you piece of crap, and then be like, let's have a beer. You know what I mean? That whole thing, and that's kind of gone as well.
There's still
And then you
there's
have
still
like
a little bit of that, but
you're talking about military or like shop vibe or whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Where you can talk like
You can talk whatever you want to talk. That's fine, and you know what's going to happen at the end of the day. Same with politics. If I talk about politics at work or wherever I'm at with guys I know won't care, they're not going to care. They don't give a crap. They have an opposing view, fine. But at the end of the day, we're drinking a beer or whatever, and I think that as a society that helps, not just with men. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Everybody.
It'd be great if
And
we could all get that.
And you can't. Yeah, of course, right? You can't losing friends over that's stupid. It's ridiculous.
stupid.
Yeah.
But then again, you're like, well, doesn't that show you who they really are? You know, I guess fine, but I don't know.
Still sucks.
I think you have to take a step back because I do believe if someone morally has a moral difference of opinion as far as like this person should have died.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, you might want to reevaluate your relationship, the closeness that you have with them. Obviously, that moral difference is something that's, something you should consider.
Yeah, moral and ethics are important in a friendship. Right?
Exactly,
But
exactly. That of course is going to
politics.
affect the personal relationship. Whether or not I think Trump's horrible or I loved Obama or whatever, that shouldn't honestly matter. It really shouldn't,
Right.
because there's so many different influences as to why I feel this way or don't feel this way. Honestly, way too many influences. Way too
From
much
the time
most
you're
of us
born,
don't know.
from the time you're born up until
Exactly.
now.
Exactly.
Okay, so you're about to judge me basically on how I grew up. That's dumb.
Exactly.
Because I believe in whoever. That's stupid.
It's
Yeah.
absolutely
stupid.
absurd. It's absolutely absurd. And the thing that gets me is the more people, you want to have people around you that have similar morals and values, but you need people around you as well who have differing opinions. You don't need to be around groupthink. You don't need to be around people who are just exactly the same minded, and you're never going to make change happen if you literally refuse to listen to someone and unfriend them, block them, whatever it may be, because they gave you some information that you didn't want to hear. How can you ever think change is going to happen? It's just not. It literally cannot happen at that point, because you grow defensive. Now you're attacking me because you think this. All I can do is attack you back and defend myself. I can't have a conversation with you anymore. You
Right.
know? And
It's like having an argument, like even in a relationship.
Yeah, it is. It's
In a marriage, like you can't have just
it
an
becomes
argument back
emotional
and forth.
so
That's
quickly.
stupid.
It's
It's not gonna
like
get anywhere, right?
yeah, you can't have a discussion if one side is emotional.
Yeah.
Whether it's way too happy about something or way too sad or way too angry. You cannot have a rational discussion when emotions are overtaking the rationale.
Yeah.
And that's the whole Democrat Party. Emotions are taking over rationale, 100%, 100,000 million gazillion %. Like, all they do is think with their freaking feelings and
You're talking about like echo chambers and like how
echo chambers and the fact that there's no logic in anything
it's just
that they
weird
do.
that
Everything is so hypocritical.
Yeah.
If you put out something that you go on any social media and look at any post that's about like the Breonna Taylor or any case, whatever.
Yeah.
You will see the exact same argument from every single one of them, because that's all they know. They don't want to go read anything else and okay, here's this other thing that's going to support my thing. No, I heard this from this guy and this was on the news and so I'm going to say it and this is going to be the arguing point because that's what they're using. Well, it doesn't mean anything,
right?
Because you don't actually have any facts to prove it. Like you're just spewing the same thing your neighbor did. Like it doesn't make any sense, and it just blows my mind, honestly. I don't really understand how anyone feels like we can really make anything progressive happen one way or another, honestly. When we're so divisive, it's scary. It's scary because people just don't want to listen to each other.
Yeah, and so do you think, a civil war is imminent or what?
Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, wow.
Unfortunately,
This is a fast answer.
Unfortunately, I very much so do, and I thought this when I was suicidal. I legitimately thought this when I was suicidal, but I was on the other end.
So that's like one opinion that hasn't changed, really.
No,
you still think you're going to end up in this?
That the fact that nobody wants to listen to each other. It does not matter what facts, how calm I am about it. Does not matter. The fact that we are so opposed. There's only one way, and everyone's the emotions come out, the anger comes out, the defensiveness
on both sides,
out.
yeah,
exactly. And all at some point, when you got people killing people on one side, man, all you got to do is defend yourself. There's no other solution, unfortunately, besides the fact that if no one's gonna listen to each other, and we all have to live under the same roof, which is the United States of America. Oh, we're gonna fight about this shit, just like you did with your siblings, right? Like you beat each other up until one of you won, right? Like I mean, it's unfortunate, but that's where we're headed. If we're not here already,
like kids.
And when you really not label, when you install the false narrative that it's cops versus black people, or even cops versus minorities. Yeah, minorities are like what 40% of the country, like they're barely minorities really. And
more at this point, honestly.
Yeah, in Texas there are.
Yeah.
But anyway, whenever that's the main narrative across the country, it's hard not to think that there's going to be civil. When you have to choose between black people or
law and order.
Yeah, or in cops, it's
you're saying, yeah. Obvious, right? You're like, what
do I do?
Yeah,
what do I do?
What do you do?
You know?
I can see that.
It's scary. As a person, I don't shoot.
There's no common values.
Interest. I've never had an interest in guns before meeting Matthew. And honestly, I didn't have an interest in them. I just watched him shoot. I shot one.
She does not like
guns. I don't like
it.
Okay,
you don't
but
like
I need
guns.
To get my CHL.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. Okay, well, so you don't. Okay, so you don't mind guns then. You said you don't like them.
She's not anti-guns.
I'm not anti-guns.
That's what I was getting at. So you're not anti-guns, but you just don't like to shoot it.
And
I get that. Same thing with one of my best friends, Nolan's wife. He doesn't shoot. She doesn't shoot guns, but I guarantee you, if she needs to, something would happen, And that's why Nolan was adamant about, I'm going to teach you. I don't care if you don't want to shoot it right now. Just learn, and then
it's something you need to know.
I don't care. Just that's it. And
yeah.
I think at this point where we're at is, what do? Well, Americans, we need to draw a line in the sand of where we say it's enough.
Yep.
It may not be now. That's fine. But I've talked to my friend about I've talked to my friends about this, on specific policies. Let's take Second Amendment for instance, and if the police are at my door and they're about to take my guns, I'm defending myself against policemen because they're going to take my guns. And I'm going to do it.
Yep.
And I'm going to shoot people, and that's fine. That's going to happen. That's where I'm going to draw the line. Period. In the story, that's the liberty I would take there.
Yep.
Freedom of speech, I'm not sure. Because we're in a place where freedom of speech could be taken not only by government, but by private companies and mob rule.
Twitter, yeah.
You're talking about three different aspects that could literally,
and they're all on the same side. That's what's super scary.
And so that's something else that I say. The line in the sand for me has kind of already been drawn there too. But it's I don't know. It's kind of over.
It's like that video in Australia of this lady who put a threatening Facebook post and gets arrested in her house in front of her 10-year-old kid.
Yeah,
gets arrested because she posted something on Facebook.
So what did she post on Facebook though? Was it an actual threat or was it?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Threat.
If it's I'm gonna bomb this place or something, then you have
but it was not anything like that.
Okay, just gonna shoot somebody.
Then you
okay.
If it's you're talking about stuff that could be
they were basically saying it was inciting a riot.
Oh,
how are you gonna incite a riot on Facebook?
Just The rest of it, you watch it happen, baby. I don't know. You get prepared for it.
And that's the scary thing,
right?
though. That's where a person like myself, who I am not a conspiracy theorist, I've never really been one. Like I said,
jump on board. Come on in. The water's fine.
I analyze it, and I want to see the whole like sides of it. I will listen to conspiracy theorists. Don't get me wrong, but I've just never been a person who's like, okay, this kind of like weighs itself out. You know, I look at the facts. I'm like, okay, this doesn't make sense. Whatever.
That's okay. Conspiracy theories, they don't have facts, right? It's literally their.
Some of them
do, but okay. But then it's not a theory anymore. You're talking about like things that could be legitimate, like Pizzagate. Oh crap!
Facts, though.
Yeah, exactly.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, it's based on these like facts that are like these align really weirdly, and some of them they say like these align weirdly, but they don't really align that weirdly. So you're like,
right. So we're talking about like conspiracy theories where you're like, oh, 9/11 was a planned thing.
Yeah,
that kind of thing.
Yeah,
I get what you're saying.
I'm not.
There's facts, but then you're like, did they line up really? Are you sure?
Doesn't really make sense. Yeah,
I get what you're saying.
Exactly. So for me though, like. I'm at the point, this shit is scaring me so much, to the point where, I mean, I think about myself and that how easily influenced I was to the point where I legitimately considered suicide. I thought there's no other point, and I'm a successful black woman. Like I said, I've worked hard my whole life. This is my sophomore year in college. I'm fine. Like there's nothing going on in my life, you know, but I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, if I'm so easily influenced, I mean, people who are far less intelligent, of just regular less intelligence than me, of the same intelligence as me. I've seen people who've gotten their masters and stuff who think very differently, as that goes into a whole other topic of universities brainwashing people and all that. We'll get into that. But
conspiracy theory?
I start to think about how at that point, unfortunately, you know, you talk about how, okay, freedom of speech, you've got, okay, the mob rule, Facebook's going to come and bust into my doors and get me if I post a certain thing. At that point, then we need to look at a new order. If they're going to rule our people, if they're going to be the ruling America, that's what we're fighting for, right? That's what the Civil War is that this is not America. This is not freedom of speech.
Yeah, so we're fighting mob rule.
This is not freedom of assembly. This is not my right to bear arms. And if I'm going to keep fighting for that, and unfortunately, if the vast majority, which is scary that the riots and stuff, they're inciting fear, and that's what makes me like worried that they're the majority, whatever.
Right.
But if the majority of them do believe this crazy shit and they want to make their whole abolish the cops and have this whole thing, fine. Let's make a mini America then.
Yeah.
We're gonna do it to get all the people. That's what the Civil War is, right? We separate and we recognize like. These people
Texas secede.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, and so, you know, it's scary. Like, even though I'm not a person who at all, I don't really like to hold guns. I don't like to shoot them.
Yeah.
I'm not against them, but I need to know about it. I need to be able to protect myself because, God forbid, if anything happens to Matthew or any of my family, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. Like,
you're screwed if something happens to me, man.
Oh my god!
I mean, last line of defense. I'll tell you what. I'm just kidding.
But
what the heck?
It's just scary because, you know, looking at the coronavirus stuff, tying that all into, I feel like it does connect.
Oh my gosh!
It really does.
I am
really
convinced
connects.
it all.
Yeah, me too.
It's all it's all a way to see how much control they can have over us, and the more we let them, even a little bit.
This is only a test.
It really is. It really
is
a test. And I'm at my job. I'm gonna call them out. Lifetime Fitness, get your shit together, all right? Why do you guys have a temperature check that is a facial temperature check? You walk up to it. It's a no touch, and you walk up. It's a big screen like this tall, and it pulls up your picture, and you step into like the shape of a person, and if you get close enough to where the dot goes right on, and it shows you your temperature, and it says normal temperature. And then you're able to go in. It's supposed to be to help because COVID, to check for symptoms, Why do you need my picture? How much did this freaking machine cost me? You know what I mean? Like, it's stuff like that. And the more I'm thinking about it, the more, 98% of us are not going to leave our house if we have a fever. All right? That's just not like, we just wouldn't do that if we're sick.
Because fevers suck, man.
Exactly.
You're
you already don't
and you're like,
feel good.
This
I'm not
sucks,
going to go work out whenever I have a fever.
Go to
like
the gym.
How stupid! How dumb is that, right? And this is the only company, and I love the company I work for. They're great, but like whoever convinced you that that's okay, you need to tell them it's not, because I'm not the only members have complained about it. Like, it's scary, and it makes me worry that the more power, the more control that they have over us on the masks, on the closing of businesses, on the temperature checks, on the whatever it may be.
It's just the more power they have.
Exactly. If the Civil War becomes so volatile that we actually have a physical wars, physical battles, what's this? I've heard of technology of cloning. What is to stop them from taking our facial recognition and somehow doing some crazy crap with it? I know I'm getting all crazy conspiracy theory, but it's like,
dude, let's
that
go.
That can happen. It's not hard.
No.
have the technology to make this facial recognition.
They put Michael Jackson and Tupac back on stage at some stage.
The holograms, whatever it may be, like however they might be able to influence people, they could take my face and make me say something that I never said.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's stuff like that's
right.
scary. And you can
the deep fakes and all that.
When you have the mass of people who are uneducated, who choose to be woefully ignorant, it's so easy to influence them.
Just look at the amateur deep fakes on the internet, and then really think about
the
CIA,
what the guys could do, and
the CIA can afford,
this stuff is not far fetched. How the heck do we always end up taking the red pill in every episode?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm just saying, like,
the thing is,
we get insane here,
CIA, man. They don't pay for stuff. They don't pay for stuff. They find out information on you.
They get okay. You're right.
Leverage.
You're right, and it's God. All this stuff is not. It's not far off at all.
It's not. It's scary.
And it is. You're right. I don't know what it is, man. Is it better to be like where we're at now and like trying to figure out how we could do something, or is it better to be like all on the other side, not worried about crap, you know?
Ignorance is bliss.
I'm just saying, like,
at the moment.
not like willful ignorance, but like straight up ignorance where you're just like, I don't know. My brother doesn't care about politics at all. He's not in it. He doesn't give a crap. You would not catch him talking about this stuff. You would not catch him like worried about any of this.
What
you know?
do you do if the Civil War suits out? You got to make
an
opinion.
What are you gonna do?
You gotta.
What are you gonna do?
Step out of the whole situation and leave America, or you jump on a side.
What happened? I mean, what happened? You know, in the actual Civil War was there anybody just chilled out? No, or
probably not. Probably not many, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Most people probably had a very strong opinion, just like most people do now, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, there were brothers that fought against each other.
And that's the scary part. People are willing to already block family members.
We're talking that happened then
absolutely.
It makes sense.
That happened 150
we're
years ago,
track.
and it's worse today. There's less family unity today than there ever has been in U.S. history. Also,
wow.
Yeah, it's scary. I lost my train of thought right after I said also.
You serious?
Literally just also and then blank.
Family unity.
God. Matt. You guy, you're funny.
The worst. Had something to do about.
This is where we like edit.
So yes, no. We don't have to edit this. This is real.
No.
This is real. So
this is real. This is genuine.
I was listening to the radio this morning. I listened to AM radio because I'm 80 years old. Calm down, okay? I'm informed.
He's very old.
I'm informed.
I'm informed, brother.
Vote your next local election. No. And they were talking about how they're talking because, like I said, they're 80. They're old. They'll have grandkids on the radio.
They're like 65. Okay.
I'm just joking. Sorry, Hal J. You're not that bad.
Your favorite.
Anyway.
He called me.
He did not. I
won some tickets to the state fair, and I got a call from Hal J. What's up?
That's true. I forgot.
Really?
Yeah. Hal J talked to me. That's crazy. That's like
closer to Hal J than my husband. No big deal.
I mean, I'm jelly.
Oh, dang.
I've listened to him since I was in kindergarten.
Sorry to interrupt. We're just good friends.
WBAP. Anyway, so they're talking about how they have to sometimes hide, like some grandparents hide the fact that they're Trump supporters from their kids because their kids are liberal, and the kids will be like, you can't see your grandkids if you're going to be a racist. And that is frequent across the country right now.
What?
Yes,
that's the silent majority that they're talking about. They want to see their grandkids, so they put their Trump flag away. And they just go vote, You know what I mean?
It's scary.
That is way more common than you think.
It's scary.
Dude,
wow.
My mom and my stepdad for sure are very quiet conservatives. They're very reserved. They're gonna vote for Trump, and they're gonna do it quietly because my step siblings that live in Illinois.
Not quietly anymore, you dingus. No, I'm
whatever.
just kidding.
Indianapolis. They're. I mean, the thing is, like, they just don't want to cause any family strife. They've been.
No, I get it. No, and
but yeah,
that's where I would end up. I would err on that side anyway too.
Yeah.
Like if I had family members that did want to. That's why I don't really get political. I still have family members that probably be like. Okay.
The thing is, I'll get political, but then I'll just get like super friendly, and people will be like, oh, "Okay, he's like not a jerk about it." You know?
Yeah.
I feel like the more this stuff is going on, the more I feel like unfortunately too many of us are complacent and just like stand by, and it's okay not to talk about it.
Boom.
And I feel like we're getting bullied. We are getting beat.
Oh man.
And we have to take a stand.
That is literally okay. So you're talking about this year and why all of a sudden I'm in politics and everything, and I feel like. That's it, man.
Yeah, it's like it's not
fair
to be bullied and be attacked like because you have a certain political opinion, and then that trickles in. They make it trickle into so many other things like the coronavirus. This shouldn't be a political thing, right? But now it is, and it's become a political thing in so many different ways, and it's just like. We really, like I said, I'm not standing next to your stupid ass facial recognition machine anymore, and I'm not gonna wear a mask unless I'm physically in front of a member. And the stuff like that, the little things I can do without losing my job and without hurting myself, I have to take a stand. If that means I'm gonna post articles and try to inform people, so be it. If I lose 10 friends, fuck y'all. I don't care.
You're taking a stand, and people could die.
Who die from me sharing facts?
Nah, the mask thing. I'm just saying what they're
people
gonna
are
say.
dying from your rioting and looting. So
there you go.
That's how I feel. Honestly, we've had
there you go.
dozens of people get killed by the rioting and looting, and no one wants to talk about it, and they want to blame.
Look, I'm just saying.
Else.
I wear a mask all day, and it sucks.
Yeah,
it's the worst. And at the end of it, you're just like, why did I just do that? Like my breathing's all weird, and I'm like. This is dumb. And so I've started doing the same thing. I take off my mask. Literally, customer's gone, mask gone. Customer's gone, mask gone.
Mm-hmm. This is another thing that I'm talking about. My conspiracy theory self is really heavy right now because
everyone's is
because the masks hurt your immune system.
There's a lot to question.
Yeah, the masks hurt your immune system. They're doing little things to not only
to make us weaker
and make us physically weaker. That's scary.
Yeah.
They're gonna take our guns away. They're taking away religion. They're taking away my ability to go to school.
We can't go to the gym very often. Like if we go to the gym, it's different. It's difficult.
Yeah.
You make people weaker. You're weaker. You're literally making people get weak.
What's really scary to me is even though we have someone who I truly believe Trump is an outsider. Like he was never meant to be president. Never meant to be. Based on the powers that be, the status quo. He was just not supposed to win. Mm-hmm. He won by the skin of his teeth. It was a very close race.
Yeah.
And I think that even with him in charge, making all the changes he's making, most federal judicial appointments in U.S. history for any president ever, 3 Supreme Court justices soon, all the changes that he's brought, 9 regulations taken away for every 1 regulation he's implemented, at least. All that stuff that he's really doing, that really substantial stuff to really ebb away at the bureaucracy that is the federal government, like the just crusted, bloated crap. It's not even making a dent. And he's doing a lot. And the IRS is still screwing people. They are, the CDC is not on our side. The EPA is not on our side. Like it's still very much a swamp. It's still very much, like Dr. Fauci is a grade A swamp creature. He's been there since the 80s. Like get him the hell out of there.
Yeah.
I don't care what you do. You should not have a job in the federal government for more than 5 years. Unless you're a 2-term senator or president. Like you just shouldn't. Okay?
Yeah.
And I think that those administrators are where the problem is. Those deep state administrators are really hard to fire.
So are you afraid of 2024,
The presidential
no one knows what's going to happen in 4 years. I get that, but I'm just saying
there's an election at this point.
No, I think we'll have one. We had an election in the middle of the Civil War.
So we think there was wow, no election. I haven't heard that.
I just worry that
we're going downhill really, 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 really quick.
I mean, it's already been so bad since 2014, 2015.
The way you're explaining it is he wants to drain the swamp, but he only has 4 years left if he gets elected again.
But the thing is, he's started something.
He has, and hopefully when he gets back on, if he does, he'll be like, let's just get it done, and maybe every day we'll hear something freaking crazy and new.
If for some reason Biden wins, then in 2022, you're going to see the most ridiculous. In 2022, you're going to see the most ridiculous red wave of all time. Literally, almost. It's going to be 40 governors. It's going to be every state house is going to be run by Republicans. It's going to be a huge red wave. It's going to be game over.
You think so?
Oh yeah, because they're going to implement. It's going to be Obama 2.0, and they're going to shove a lot down the American people's throats. It's going to be like Obamacare, 2.0. Like in between 2008 and 2010, President Obama had a supermajority. He had the Senate and the House, and he just shoved all sorts of legislation down the American people's throats, including Obamacare, which no Republicans voted for. So it is dangerous, but it can come back to bite you because in 2010 there was a huge red wave. So. Yeah.
Holy crap.
But
so like when you met Matt, like was it you weren't really political then, I guess?
No, I would say I was political as far as I was very involved in Black Lives Matter.
When you guys met?
Yeah.
Crap.
We met in 2014. Yeah. So I felt very
crap. So you guys so since like this whole shift and everything, you guys have been dating and stuff.
Mhm. I mean, we started dating in 2015. We started.
I'm an open-minded person. Like, I'll date someone who's a liberal or ultra-conservative or whatever.
That was pretty cool. So
turned out, yeah,
worked out pretty good.
Because all of a sudden she's like, liberal. You know what I mean? Like,
I've always been a person who goes against the grain. And I think that might have been what attracted him about the fact that I'm not a typical black girl. I'm not a typical girl. I'm not, I don't identify myself as a black woman, as a whatever. I identify myself as a hard worker and a person who just does what I need to do to be successful.
Freaking Cyarra. There you have it.
I mean, that's
holy crap.
What it is. That's
dang
how it is. So
man, we should hire somebody like that. I think that'd be a good idea.
Maybe.
Turns out, right? Oh my gosh.
You guys.
Oh no. new member of the Toasty Podcast. Is Cyarra.
Hi.
There she is.
She is going to be our marketing director, and I'm excited because
we need more people to freaking hear what I have to say.
We can't.
Not him.
We can't do it all on our own. Our whole motto: we can't do it on our own. That's simple as that.
Exactly.
So
we want to start those conversations. We need people to engage with us and with each other. So
it's true, man. It's true.
And
I want more listeners. So you guys need to share it, and Cyarra will do her part as well. So
get you guys
that's how that is.
Sounds good. Happy to be a part of it. Thanks for having me.
We're excited.
Yeah. So thanks for the podcast, and also thanks for being a part of the.
Of course.
So now you know her story a little bit more. You know that this is our team.
Yeah.
We're gonna work together. I'll be doing more research on each podcast. I'll be focused on booking guests and the production value, and Cyarra will be focused on reaching out and maybe even getting
freaking audience involved.
Yeah,
holy crap, that's what we need right now. If you guys didn't know, obviously we have a Patreon, and it's $5 a month. That's all it is. I know that's money, I get it, but it's also supporting the show. This show is made to spread to the masses. That means I want it to grow. I want it to go further, and in order to do that, I need y'all's help. And it helps with production costs. That might be mics, that might be headphones, that might be that we're not wearing, and that might be hosting, because that costs money. So anyway, guys,
who knows, in a year from now it could be flights to bring people in,
freaking guests, right? You never know.
Yes, exactly.
And if you want to be an advertiser or a sponsor, also hit me up at the email in the show notes. Other than that, guys, stay toasty.
Stay toasty.
Stay toasty.
Toasty.